Hello and greetings everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how you can use Linux within Windows without using any of those old techniques like installing a virtual machine or creating a separate partition and installing a Linux distribution inside that partition. Without using any of those old painful techniques, how you can use Linux and code in Linux environment efficiently within Windows. So we will be using a fairly new feature of Windows. Microsoft added this feature to Windows fairly recently. It's known as WSL, or Windows Subsystem for Linux, and I'm going to show you how you can set it up, how you can use VSCode or Visual Studio Code to use that feature and code in Linux environment. Okay, so before we begin, if you are in Windows 10, I highly recommend you download and install Windows Terminal. So go to your Microsoft Store. You will have Microsoft Store in Windows 10 and search for Windows Terminal. So I will search for Terminal and you can have Windows Terminal right here. So install this terminal, Windows Terminal. This is the best terminal you can have in Windows, the best. So install this Windows Terminal, and then you will have to open Windows Terminal in administrator mode. So go to Terminal, find Terminal, and then right click, More, Run as Administrator. Right here, Run as Administrator. So run Windows Terminal as administrator, and once you do that, you will notice this shield icon right here. This shield icon means Windows Terminal is running inside of WSL, Windows Terminal is running in administrator mode. This shield icon, right? Okay, so once we do that, we will basically need two commands. So one of them is WSL -L, which means list, -O, which means online. What this will do, this will list out all of those Linux distributions which are currently available. For example, Ubuntu, Debian, Kali Linux, other flavors of Ubuntu, some flavors of Oracle Linux, some flavors of SUSE Linux. So all these distributions are currently available to use. So I already have Ubuntu 20.04 installed, so I'm not going to install it again. So suppose you want to install Ubuntu 22.04. So just copy this name, Ubuntu 22.04. Okay, copy that name, and then what we will do is we will do WSL -install -D, which basically means distribution, and then paste that name. Once you hit enter, what this will do a bunch of stuff. So this will enable a couple of system features of Windows. This will download Ubuntu 22.04, extract all of the files, extract all of the installation files, install Ubuntu 22.04, and it will ask you for a restart. Do the restart. Now after the restart is done, a terminal window will pop up and it will ask you for a username and a password. So that username and that password will be for your newly installed WSL distribution, Linux distribution, which is Ubuntu 22.04 in your case. Enter a username, enter a password, and once you do that, it will log you inside of Linux distribution, your newly installed Linux distribution, which is Ubuntu 22.04. Now if you open, after everything is done, if you open Windows Terminal again, you don't have to open it in administrator mode. Then after installation is complete, you don't have to open Windows Terminal in administrator mode. You can open a normal window. So you will notice this drop down button right now. If you press this drop down button right here, you will notice I have Ubuntu 20.04 in my list. You will have Ubuntu 22.04 in your list if you install it. Now we don't have to do anything. After WSL is successfully installed and set up, Windows Terminal will automatically do this for you. It will automatically add Ubuntu 22.04 in your list automatically. So if you click that, it will again log you inside of Linux. Now notice the speed. this is so fast, like this is so fast. Now virtual machines were never this fast. So yeah, this is fast. This uses virtualization technology, but we don't have to use we don't have to install those heavy duty, highly resource hungry virtual machines which take up a lot of CPU resources, sort of lot of memory resources. We don't have to install any of those. So once you are inside of your Linux distribution, you will notice my prompt is a bit different. My Ubuntu prompt is a bit different. I have customized it. Yours won't look like this because these customizations you have to do. But that's not a big deal. But this is real Linux. I can verify that by doing uname-a, and you will notice we are inside of Linux. GNU Linux 5.15.90, which is the Linux kernel version WSL is using. So this is real Linux. So I can use all of those Linux commands, right? So I can do ls to list out my my folders and files. I can do cd to visit my folders, go into my folders. So let us write some code. Right now, let me make a folder here. Okay, temp. Let me go inside temp. All right, now I already have C++, Java, and all of my tools installed. Now if you want, you can obviously install your preferred tools like Java, C++, .NET. You can install anything you want, but before doing, make sure you update your Linux distribution. I generally do this by doing sudo apt update and sudo apt dist, which means distribution upgrade. If you use this command, this will basically update your Linux distribution completely. Now then after that, you can install your favorite tools like C++, Java, C, .NET, Node.js, JavaScript, TypeScript, anything you want. So let us do some C++, because most colleges and universities teach C++ during first year and second year. So let's do C++. So I'm going to do code dot. If I do code dot, what this will do, this will open up VSCode or Visual Studio Code, but 50% of VSCode will be running inside of Windows, that is the UI part, user interface part, and 50% of VSCode will be running in WSL, that is the backend part. So if I do that, it might download some updates. So let it download, let it finish everything, and then VS Code will start. And you will notice on the lower right hand corner, right about this position, VS Code might ask you to install some extensions. There will be an install button as well. It might not show, but it might show as well. If it does, install those extensions. Click this install button, and install those extensions. Okay, and after those extensions are installed, you will notice on the lower left hand corner, right over here, you will notice WSL Ubuntu 2004. In your case, it will be WSL Ubuntu 2204. This basically means VS Code is now using WSL or Windows Subsystem for Linux technology. So the UI part of VS Code is running inside of Windows. The backend part of VS Code is running inside of WSL, that is running inside of your Linux distribution. So let us write some code. So I'm going to zoom in a bit so that you can see properly. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me make a new file here. So I'm going to right click, new file, hello.cpp. Okay, so I created this file, but a side note, this file is not living inside my Windows file system. This is living inside the Linux distribution. So if I do ls, you can see hello.cpp. This is inside my Linux file system. So if you open up File Explorer, suppose if I open up File Explorer, another one, you will see here, if you're in Windows 11, you will see there will be a Linux link right here, Linux link. If you're in Windows 11, I'm not sure if Windows 10 has this feature or not, but if you're in Windows 11, you will have this. And if you click that, you will notice I have Ubuntu 2004 right here, right? You will have Ubuntu 2204, and inside that you will notice all these files right here, right? So we have boot, we have dev, we have etc, we have home, we have root. So all of those traditional system folders we have in Linux, right? Because this is real Linux. So if I go inside of home, I will be seeing my username Shubham K. You will be seeing your username. If I go inside my folders here, dev, temp, and now you can see hello.cpp, right? Oops, okay, Zoom is not working properly. Yeah, hello.cpp right here. Now this is inside my Linux file system, right? This is inside Linux, as you can see here. This is not inside this PC. This is not inside my Windows file system. This is inside Linux file system. Okay, so as I said, VS Code, the UI part of VS Code will be inside of Windows. The backend code part of Windows, the file system part of Windows will be inside of WSL, the Linux file system. So let me write some code. Okay, C++ code. Haven't written C++ in quite some time, so let's see how this goes. Now as you can see, I have VS Code features, IntelliSense. I have IntelliSense. All of those features of VS Code, we will have access to each and every one of them. Search, debug, run, IntelliSense, code completion, everything. Okay, so let's write some code here. Simple hello world. Hello world from WSL. Okay. Alright. So if I want to run, I will open the integrated terminal. You can do that by doing control backtick or control tilde. And I can do ls and I can see hello.cpp. Now this integrated terminal is basically the Linux terminal. So I can do uname -a. You will notice, oh sorry, misspelled it, uname -a. You can see Linux. So this is Linux terminal. So I can do g++ hello.cpp, and it builds. I have my build output, so I can do ./a.out. I can see hello world from WSL. So we are running C++ code using Linux file system, using a Linux environment, but using Windows as UI, right? VS Code's Windows UI. The UI part of VS Code is running in Windows, but the backend is running inside of WSL, and it is using Linux as file system, Linux environment, right? So this I wanted to make this video because when I was in college, this feature changed my life basically, because I was using before this feature came around, I was using virtual machines. And let's be honest, virtual machines are a pain to use. They are a pain to use because they are very resource hungry, they're very slow, and it takes up a lot of CPU power, takes up a lot of memory. It makes using Linux a pain. So when Microsoft released this feature, when I got to know about this feature, it basically changed my life. And till this date, everything I do, I do it in WSL. I do .NET in WSL. I do React and Next.js in WSL, TypeScript, Java, everything I do, that is in WSL, right? It is a super feature, one of the best features that Microsoft has added to Windows, probably in more than 10 or 20 years. This is so good. So I hope this feature, I hope you find this feature useful. if you're a developer, if you're a young developer or a student, college student, I hope you find this feature useful. And yeah, that was it for this video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.